So this is my new iGen4500. I got the Westinghouse version. It's also made in a Cummins Onan flavor, so they all probably come out of the same building. I got it for a travel trailer I have, and one of the things I wanted to know is would it fit in the bed of my truck, which has a sliding bed top cover, and my bed top cover is 21 inches off the floor of the bed, and I measured from the ground up exactly 20.5 inches from the ground to the top of the gas cap, 20.5 inches. It's 16.5 inches wide, and it's 24.5 inches front to back. So pretty nice. They have little rubber covers over everything, even the little screws that they use to put the case together. Back of the generator, there's the exhaust. Here's where you have your battery. So the battery is a 12 volt, 6.5 amp hour battery. That should get it started. This side of the generator, this is where you put your oil in, where you check your oil. And on the bottom of the case, and about this location, there's a little hole with a little drip tube, so if you spill something, it has a place to go. Pull handle. And at the top, I know I saw some people had reviews that said that their gas tank was already rusty before they got it. This one isn't. It looked just fine. I pulled the little filter out. It looks fine in there. Smells like some type of solvent. I can't tell if it's old gas or like a protective solvent smell, but it smells okay. There we go. Got that. Remote control that comes with it has an automatic choke, so all you need to do is hit start, and I guess it tugs on the choke for a little bit in there and then lets go of it. Some people in cold climates said that they had a problem starting it in the cold, and I did read something on the earlier version of this. This is the dual fuel, but on the earlier version, before they had the propane option, people complained about cold weather starting. I'm in Southern California, so hopefully that's not a problem with me. Another nice thing, I know I have other generators, and when you're filling up the gas, you're pouring the gas in, it's empty, 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 full, and there you get the flood out. This thing has the largest spillway of any generator I've ever seen. So it's a rubber, kind of a rubbery material. Should be, if I spill that much gas, I'm really not paying attention. Should be just fine there. This side of the generator has access to the engine. I had it off earlier. You got screw, 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 and then on the bottom, bolt, bolt, bolt. These guys were really tight. I already rounded out one of the heads. I had a big Phillips head, but it's a socket head, so you can use a socket on those if you want to pull those bolts off. Panel comes off, you can see the side of the engine. Look fine, nice and clean in there. On the front panel, it's kind of nice. All the switches and controls, they all have protective dust covers over them. Starting up here, you got your on-off run switches. This sends the puts the motor into the demand mode. This is an inverter-based generator, so it converts AC to DC, or DC to AC and then back. Anyway, what it does is it'll slow down the engine to a lower RPM to meet your demand, so it saves a lot of gas. Propane Gazinda here. I'm going to start up this generator on propane first, do a little break-in. Propane to fuel, propane to gasoline fuel selector. That's got a nice tight turn to it. That's not going to slide around by itself. Circuit breaker. This is the trailer connector, and yes, that is the proper orientation for a trailer connector. Someone in another review said, oh, they mounted the trailer connector upside down and he took off a star. That is the proper orientation. Your ground is at the top because all the cables are made with the plug going in like that, and then the cable comes down. So that's the way that works. Then you got a couple of 20 amp outlets here, and you got your circuit breakers for the 30 amp and the circuit breaker for the 20 amps. Start indicator, I guess that comes on when it's starting. Push button start. It's parallelable, which is nice because I have other generators that I can do that with. That means that you can take a cable, you can make these yourself, or you can buy the parallel cables, plug it into another generator, and then you start plug it into another generator that's also parallelable. And what it means is it has a synchronization circuit in it, so that like if you have two of these, then you can start the other one, which would of course be putting 120 volts right here. And then when this one starts, it will check its parallel ports and see if there's voltage there, and it'll see the sine wave, and this will synchronize its output to that sine wave, so be able to increase your output power. So that's a nice feature. Got some indicators for output ready, overload, low oil. 2 USB ports, got a 1 amp and a 2.1 amp output. Don't know why they both can't be 2.1, but that's the way they did it. Display panel here gives you your remaining runtime, power output, fuel level, voltage, and the lifetime run hours. Someone was complaining about, maybe it was an earlier model or maybe it was this one, they thought it didn't have lifetime run hours. It does. And that's a reset button to reset something. I don't know what that's resetting. I'll have to RTFM for that, read the fine manual. And on the bottom of it here, there's a slide out handle, so there's a button that you push here and slide this out, and you can lift it up and trolley it. I don't have any oil in it yet, so I'm not too worried about tilting it too far. So you can kind of see the underside here. And these front feet are pretty soft rubber. They're nice and squishy. They're not really super hard. And this lever here, what that does is you push in the lever, and it pushes in these little ball bearings here that allows you to slide it in. Has a nice positive click. A couple of carry handles. Thing weighs 100 pounds empty. Put 3.5 gallons of gas in it. It's going to weigh a little more, but I like it. I like the way it looks. The plastics are pretty nice. It's not super thin. Kind of hard to describe on a video how hard the plastics are, but I do like these little added extra touches, because this is going to be living out in the desert, and keeping dust out of parts is good. So we will get some propane hooked up to this and start it up, see how it works. So these are the accessories that come with the generator. You get some starter oil here, and by the way, when you run it for the first time, they'll tell you take out the oil after a certain number of hours. I forget what they say, maybe 20 hours or something. I might not even go that long on the first tank, because that's when all the metal shavings are coming off. Little funnel. This is your propane manifold. Put that in on your propane bottle and run it off propane, which is what I'm going to be doing in a minute here. Get a battery charger. This puts out 14 volts at 800 milliamps. Keep your battery charged up, and this plugs into the front panel of the generator. There's your fine manual, propane hose, and if you order right now, we'll also include a little toolkit. Change your spark plug, Phillips, and then a wrench. A note about the hose here. You look at the propane hose, the two ends are slightly different. One hooks up to the manifold, the other end hooks up to your front panel of the generator. And inside of the box, when I got the generator, I found floating around this little fiber washer. So this little fiber washer lives in the end of the propane hose that has the flat surface. It should have been in there. So I finished oiling it up, and it took about 3/4 of the quart of oil that they gave me until it measured about 75% on their little dipstick. To connect the battery, this is all you have to do, and plug that in. I'm going to need 2 hands to do that. Okay, this is going to be a genuine first start. So we're going to make sure that we are on propane, and let's see, we're going to want run mode. Got a little light there I can see. I'm going to turn on our propane. Now, I expect this to not start up right away because I'm sure there's air in the line right now. But I think we've got everything we need for it. So let's see what happens here. Let's see, wait a second. Efficiency mode. Yeah, we've got that off. Usually they want you to start it in the mode with the efficiency mode off. So here we go. Hey, look at that. Ah. First try. That does sound nice and quiet. I would easily compare it to my EU2000. Not jiggling around too much. Very good. So I ran it for about 20 minutes and it purred along just fine. I used the remote to shut it off. You have to hold the button for about 1 second and then it shuts off. And so far, it's only the first time I've run it, so can't say anything about longevity or anything like that, but so far, very happy with it. I have an EU2000. Friends of mine have the 3000 and 7000. Noise-wise, it's right in the same ballpark. It's no louder, no quieter. It's very nice, very, very acceptable. Just what you would think out of an inverter type generator. And just in case you're wondering about the shipping or packaging, I know some people said that, oh, I got it and it had a cracked plastic panel. I have another video on my site that shows how FedEx delivered it, and they flipped the box end over end about 30 times all the way from the street up to my house. And some of the styrofoam inside was broken. In fact, I've got the box right here. says don't do that. They kind of beat the box up pretty good. After seeing him deliver it, I'm sure that all this damage was done just by the driver doing that, and it's really not bad, and the generator appears to have survived. So even if you look at the corners, the styrofoam blocks that they use inside of there were pretty much all encompassing. So looks like it survived that. So I'm not worried at all about the shipping, packaging. In fact, I'd have to give that 5 stars right off the bat.